one day, all of this is just going to end. And it doesn't matter if you've put 10 years into it, 20 years, 30 years, or even 2 years. There is going to come a day when you say, I can't do this anymore. And I've been seeing this more and more lately. There's so much talk about recruiting and not enough talk about retention. But then, even what happens at the end of that, what happens at the end of foster carers' journeys, at the end of how many years they've poured into an agency or a local authority and the countless children that they've poured into. So today, grab your tea or your coffee. Let me know in the comments what's in your mug and also where you're tuning in from. Let me know if you're a foster carer for an agency or if you work for a local authority. And let's dive into today's conversation. So hello, welcome. If you are new here, welcome to Fostering Kingdoms. I am your host and founder and CEO of Fostering Kingdoms. I have been a foster carer for just over 7 years. I'm also a wife, a mother, a veteran, coffee lover, absolutely love my coffee. And I just wear multiple hats, I think, at this point, just trying to get through each and every day. So we run a house of 8 and we also run our team within Fostering Kingdoms. So life is super busy, but something that has been coming up quite recently, and also conversations that we've been having in the office together between me and my team, we have over 25 years worth of experience in the world of fostering. We are all foster carers that work in Fostering Kingdoms. So this is something that's, like I said, we've been talking about. I'm noticing a lot more posts online of people saying, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. But one thing that's really stood out for me is how, not just how many people are leaving, but also how people are treated when they do leave. So that's one of the things that I really want to address today. And it's not saying that everybody's treated the same way when they leave. It's understanding kind of the broader system on that, I suppose. And everyone will be treated differently. People work for different local authorities, work for different agencies. And I think it's bringing it back from, well, I'm only valued because when I left, people did X, Y, and Z, and actually bringing it back to I'm valued because God says I'm valued. And I've been seeing such a mix of messaging, really, of how people have been treated when they've left. And this is also something we've been experiencing within our own team as well. And one of the members of our team recently left working for a local authority. So we're seeing it firsthand as well, the difference in treatments. So some people have been sharing that their local authority or their agency were absolutely brilliant when they left, when they chose to say, I can't do this anymore. They've been treated really nicely on their way out. They've had flowers, cards. Some have even had exit interviews. Some have had senior managements calling them to just check in. Some have received gift hampers. And some have genuinely felt appreciated as they've moved away from their role as foster carers. But then on the other side, some people are saying, I've left, I've not even had a text message to say, thanks for your time, I've not had a letter, I've just had silence. It was like I didn't even exist at all. Like all the time and effort that I've put into it, there was just never any gratitude from that. And one thing that I want to really highlight is how often we take our value and our worth and we put it into other people, and then we dismiss our own value because we've not received recognition from other people. So when we recognize that the deepest wounds in all of this, it isn't that people are lacking flowers, it's what that silence does to people. People start to believe, maybe I never even mattered. Maybe I was only useful to them for what I delivered, not for who I am. Maybe I was just another number. Maybe I was just that replaceable. And it's heartbreaking when you find yourself in that position. And I remember feeling that myself when I left the army. How I left was not the best way. Kind of just like shoved out. I just felt really replaceable. Felt like the years that I had struggled and sacrificed, they just meant nothing. There was never any communication from anybody once I'd left. It was just, okay, you're out the door. Next. So I personally understand that feeling when you think, well, I'm just a number. I've poured so much into something. But when it comes to fostering, your worth isn't measured by receiving a card from a manager or from the agency or from the local authority. Your value isn't determined because you've had an exit interview. Your value and your worth, it comes from that child still remembering that you poured into them, that teenager feeling safe in your home. They're the things that matter, is that you still shaped lives, you still poured into people. And just because at the end of it you're not being poured back into doesn't mean that you are less valuable. And when we can bring that back into scripture and truly anchor ourselves into something much bigger than what we're just experiencing in our current reality, whether it is that you have left fostering or you're thinking of leaving and you're not too sure how to manage that in the best possible way for yourself, through our framework, in part 3 of the framework, we talk about building that legacy once you leave. We talk about how to prepare yourself for that time and how to nurture yourself, how to grow, how to heal. We look at building you sustainable for your future. But we lean so deeply into scripture and put all of our trust in God. And when we lean into scripture and lean on our faith, regardless of where we're at in our journeys, it is truly the foundation that we build our 4 core pillars on. So when we bring that into today, well, how does that even look? If we look at Colossians 3:23 to 24, whatever you do, work at it with all of your heart as for working for the Lord. So when we can trust and anchor ourselves into that, we remember that everything that we do, it flows from our heart, and God sees that. He sees all of the unseen acts. He sees the nights that you stayed awake, every meeting, every painful goodbye that you have been through, every difficult placement, but every birthday cake that you've provided for. Nothing that you have done is wasted because God has seen it all. Nothing is wasted in what we do when it comes from our heart, and God sees that. And when we can just keep pulling scripture into this, Isaiah 43:1, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name and you are mine. God knows who you are as a person. Don't get stuck in the trap of thinking, well, this system, to them, I'm just a number. I'm an employee ID number. I'm a service number. I'm just a case reference. I'm just a registration number. I'm just X, Y, and Z. No, you are known by your name. You are so deeply known by God, and He sees everything that you do and everything that you're going to become as well on this journey. So I invite you to just shift your thinking from, well, I was forgotten, and move towards, no, my service was seen by God. Even if it wasn't celebrated by people, God knows my heart. And I don't want to dismiss that. Yes, it might hurt if you don't receive a bunch of flowers after providing over 30 years of time and effort and love into your fostering journey. But just remember that just because you didn't get flowers, it doesn't mean that everything that you've done has been of no value. You have impacted more people than you ever realize. But maybe we can start opening the conversations that when people do leave from fostering, we can create a legacy conversation. We can start saying, actually, what is the process that every foster carer who leaves should go through? Should we all receive a genuine thank you? Should we get opportunities to share what we've learned with new people coming in? Do people want an exit interview that can inform and influence on future practices for new people coming in? Recognition for the years of service that you have provided, perhaps even just a small celebration. This isn't going to change the past, but it is going to help us shape our future. And that's exactly what we do here at Fostering Kingdoms. We open the space to have conversations so that we can improve on things, so that we can learn, so that we can all grow, so that when new people come into fostering, they say, do you know what? I am seen, I am supported, I can do this long term. And even if you've been doing this for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, for you to build that long-term sustainability on your journey so that you can impact on more lives, so that you can impact on the new foster carers coming through the system. So maybe it's not just talking about how people leave, but it is about building that legacy. We don't have complete control over the system, but we do have control of how we show up to that system. So maybe instead of waiting for recognition from other people, maybe we start saying, actually, I can send an email to the people that I worked with and just say to them, thank you. We don't have to wait for them to do it to us. You are within your rights as well to send a bunch of flowers to the social worker that you may have worked with for the past 5 years and say to them, thank you. Because when we understand and recognize that those social workers, they're also under immense pressure, that they have got so many caseloads, they may be feeling burnt out and exhausted too. When we can shift that power and say, I can give somebody else that moment of recognition because they too are doing a difficult job. There may be an IRO that you've built up a good relationship with, or a manager that you've built up a relationship with. How about instead of waiting for them to recognize the work that you've done, maybe we just take a moment and recognize them for everything that they're doing too. And when we can start doing for others, we know that it will come back tenfold to us. So I invite you to make that shift today. Instead of waiting for you to be recognized, waiting for your end of service, maybe we just pause and say, I'm in a position right now that I can thank somebody else. And just watch that ripple out. Don't always wait for everybody else to do the things for you. Be the change that you want to see. Impact other people. And you can start doing that from the very beginning of your fostering career. Send bunches of flowers out to people. Send thank yous. Say thank you. We don't always have to have this us v them. It can just be, I'm doing my job, but I know that everybody else around are going to do their jobs. And sometimes that can be really difficult. But Jesus invites us to love our neighbours and to love our enemies too. And that might be quite a difficult thing for you to do, but I encourage you to take that step. Don't just wait for everybody else to say thank you to you. Take that step to thank other people as well. I really hope today's episode has resonated with you and just given you a different perspective on how we can show up in our own fostering journey, whether we are right at the beginning or at the end. And if you want more ways to learn and grow as a foster carer, make sure you check out the Sustainable Fostering Framework by visiting fosteringkingdoms.com/framework. And I'd also love to invite you to just subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you get notified every week when we have new videos going out. And send this episode to a fellow foster carer, whether they are new to fostering or even have come to the end of their journey or somewhere in the middle. You sharing this episode helps us to get our channel out and impact and support more foster carers. So thank you so much. And if you're not ready to leave yet and you want to learn some more, don't worry, we can hang out some more, and I'll catch you on the next episode.